What's going on, guys? Brent 031. I got my buddy Bruce out here, and this is a gear camouflage prep video for our future trip that we're going to be taking up to Nevada to shoot and do camouflage effectiveness videos with Dimitri with Primary Arms. So starting this out, I'm going to go ahead and talk about, we did an informal poll on the last update video I did of what patterns you guys wanted to see. So taking the results from that and some of the stuff that Bruce and I talked about, some of the stuff we wanted to do, we put together a nice little selection of the camouflage patterns that we're going to take out there and try to get done. Okay, so obviously we got a lot of patterns out here. Can't promise I'm going to get to everything, and you know, our videos for each pattern might be a little brief. Okay, but again, we want to do the max that we can do while we're out there on scene. So if you want to come in close, we'll go ahead and talk about. So hands down, bar none, the #1 camouflage pattern that was mentioned by my viewers is the one I'm wearing right now, the 6-color desert pattern. Shortly after that was going to be Marine Corps Marpat and the British DPM pattern, also the German Troubatarn, as well as the American three desert color camouflage pattern, and those were in numerous I don't know the exact totals, but I could tell you that pretty much those patterns I just listed off were in damn near everybody's recommendations. The other ones, some of the ones that were somewhat common were multicam, UCP, which I'm going to talk about here again in a minute, but Dimitri swears up and down by UCP out there in the desert. He says it's very effective. Some of the other ones some people wanted to see, you know, it switched off between tan and coyote. So, you know, Bruce and I were talking, and hey, we'll just take both, okay? So I got a regular tan one here, and you know, the coyote brown, tan, whatever you want to call it. But we're going to take those. As you can see, the coyote's a little bit darker, so we'll see the difference between that. Another little oddball that I was surprised got thrown out a lot was this Polish desert pattern. I've got it, so I'll take it. We'll check it out. Now, one that wasn't voted for, but I'm taking it because I just want to, and I know Bruce wants to see it too.
Absolutely.
Is the Rhodesian pattern. And the reason for it is because what Bruce and I have noticed is that the Rhodesian camouflage pattern is very effective as a universal pattern. It's been very good in the spring and summer time frame, and it's been very good here in the fall winter time frame. So we want to see it out in the desert, because if it's effective out in the desert, in my opinion, it's probably going to be one of the best damn universal patterns there is that you can have. Okay, another pattern. Okay, so you know, if you watched my update video recently, I recently acquired some PVS 14s. So I want to take this old Desert Storm era Desert Night camouflage pattern. Now this was designed to defeat Generation 1 Soviet era night vision, but a lot of people want to just see what it looks like through Gen 3. So I've heard that it's very very obsolete when looking through Gen 3 optics, but hey, we'll check it out. We'll see what it looks like. And we might also look at some of these other patterns, probably not all of them. We'll probably look at some of these other patterns through MBGs as well. So moving on from the camouflage effectiveness aspect of this, let's talk about the gear, because we're also going to be shooting, you know, downrange with Dimitri. You know, Dimitri goes out there to the open desert. He engages a lot of targets at unknown distances, and it's going to be a very awesome opportunity for us to go out there, you know, with our weapons, with our optics, and you know, engage those targets, because that's something you just don't get to do very often. So I'm going to turn it over to Bruce, so he's going to talk about the gear that he's taking out there. Once he gets done, it'll go back to me, and I'll talk about my gear. So Bruce, what do you got for us, man?
Okay, so what I wanted to do was, those of you that have been following me are familiar that I've got a heavy rig that's typically in a Ranger green, olive green pattern that I kind of think is more my universal rig. I built the similar heavy rig in a coyote brown. This is kind of a mixed mosh, but I've got a couple canteens. I got a med pouch, magazine pouches. I got a little suppressor pouch. The idea was just to have this kit so that it would blend in maybe a little better in the desert, work a little better in the desert, but still have a similar loadout that I'm used to normally carrying anyway. And we're going to kind of use this more as eye candy, just so that it will work with almost any of these patterns while we're out there, and should not detract from the camouflage effectiveness at all, but give you guys an idea of how well coyote brown just blends in that type of environment. So we'll be using that as support gear. Of course, I've got my little British mesh scarf that I take everywhere, anywhere I go. A set of just gloves, and I've got this little balaclava here that I can also use to help with the camouflage effectiveness side of it if I need to. That's going to be it basically on the basic gear. But weapon systems, I'm taking my primary, which is my Scar Mark 16. We've added a bipod to that for distance shooting, because we're planning on shooting from 100 to 800 yards. And 800 yards is really going to be pushing that little 5.56 round. We're going to take it a step further. The idea was not to take out a precision built rifle for distance, but to take out more of a standard mil-spec rifle. So that's got a factory trigger in it, although it's a really good factory trigger. The gun is pretty much so in its factory configuration. We'll have the ability to suppress it if we want to. A 16-inch cold hammer forged chrome line barrel, 1 in 7 twist, and we're going to, by taking it a step up, we're going to shoot M855 at all those distances and report back on how well that does through a standard mil-spec rifle. And we'll probably take some precision ammo as well. We're looking at some 77 grain Black Hills tipped ammunition in 5.56, but still, that's off the shelf stuff. Those aren't hand reloads or anything of that nature. You guys can go to Cabela's and pick up a box of that and run it. And you know how we are. We try to keep it real out on the range, you know. So we're gonna run these standard rifles and see what they can do. I've got the Primary Arms 3X Prism optic on that. We're gonna do a bunch of testing with that optic. That's a new optic that I've got on this 5.56 gun. And we're really looking forward to using that ACSS reticle at those ranges and being able to use the range finding techniques that are built into that reticle and seeing how accurate they are.
Yeah, that's one of the things that Dimitri does is he puts those targets out there, and you pretty much got to use your ACSS reticle to determine what the approximate distance to that target is. So just going to be an awesome opportunity. I'm really looking forward to it. Moving on to my end of the house here. So you guys know me. I vary between running more modern stuff and more dated stuff, but I'm not against the dated stuff. Sometimes I think it just works better. All right, so I am going to run pretty much a Alice type setup here. Okay, so I got my main cartridge belt, and then I've got a an Alice type magazine pouch on each side, 2 canteens, a bud pack, a dump pouch. I'll have my AN PVS 14s in here in this MBG bag. And then I'm using some H straps here. My typical, Marine fighter knife here. So that's pretty much it. Nothing too flashy. One of the things I wanted to strive for was getting gear that primarily was tan and not coyote, because Bruce is running coyote over there, and I wanted to see what the gear looked like. And as far as what looks more appropriate for that environment, tan or coyote gear. So I tried to make most of my gear tan as opposed to Bruce, who's running coyote. Obviously I got some coyote items here. I just had to. Okay, the sniper veil, gloves, same typical stuff. But the rifle I'm going to be running here is my Daniel Defense M4 V5. This is my primary go-to rifle. You guys are used to looking at my rifle, you probably noticed I've got this PEC device up here. So again, I have AM PVS 14s now, so I needed a PEC, so I got a PEC, mounted it. I'm going to be running my ACOG this is a TA31 with an ACSS reticle inside it, and then I got the RMR on top. I think this will be more than enough to engage those targets at the distances that we're going to be expecting to shoot at out there. But I'm looking forward to it. Again, this is my primary go-to rifle. This is what I wanted to shoot with. The other thing I wanted to show, which I realized I just left it out here. Give me 1 second. All right, guys, sorry about that. Forgot to put something out here. So I'm not pulling this rifle out to show you all the rifle. What I wanted to show you guys is this optic here. So this is an ACSS Raptor. Just acquired this pretty recently. I currently have it mounted onto this, M16A4 style rifle. My little M16A4 clone here. My primary purpose for this is to turn this into like a designated marksman's type rifle. But I mounted this optic to this weapon. But what I want to do, because obviously Bruce and I are going to be flying out there, right? So we're limited on space, is I'm going to BZO this optic for this rifle, and then what I can do is I'm going to shoot with that TA31. At some point, I'm going to take this off, and then I'm going to shoot with this this ACSS Raptor here. The reason for that is because I do want to do a review video on this optic, and I can't think of a better way to test out this optic than to have this optic engaging targets at those, you know, increased distances, like the 500 meters plus. So again, just showing you this optic. I'm going to take this optic, not this rifle, and then I'm going to BZO it to this rifle so that I can use this optic out there as well in addition to my TA-31. And that pretty much wraps it up. Bruce, you got anything else you want to throw out there, man?
Nope, I think you've covered it. I'm really looking forward to this trip, of course. Special thanks to Dimitri for really making this happen. I mean, he put this all together for us, and it just kind of snowballed into an actual trip and went from a dream to a reality. So I hope you guys follow along. Get out in the desert there with us. Follow the video, of course, that we'll be doing while we're out there. Both the camouflage effectiveness videos, which we're really excited about being able to do.
Yeah,
we've been talking about getting some of these desert patterns out in the actual desert for years. And then, of course, getting able to shoot at long distance, no distance ranges with Dimitri, having the actual designer of that ACS reticle train us on how to use that reticle and some of the special features built within it. That's going to be a good time, guys. We're really looking forward to getting out there.
Yeah, so this is going to happen in the next few months. So for OPSEC, I'm not going to tell you exactly when, but again, it's going to happen fairly soon. So thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to leave a comment, and if you're a big fan of my camouflage effectiveness videos, make sure you check out my channel and subscribe because I got a lot of them up there. Thanks for watching, guys.